The mysterious disappearance of Manic Street Preachers star Richey Edwards, 25 years on. He checked out of his hotel in London first thing in the morning and drove to Wales. That same day he crossed the Severn Bridge, which connects England to Wales. There, the trail grows cold and one of the most enduring puzzles in British indie rock begins. His body has never been recovered. And so a mystery has sprouted wings and taken flight. Just as Elvis sightings persisted years after Presley's passing, so Richey Edwards has become the eternal spectre of early 90s alternative rock. A tragedy and a conspiracy theory bound up in one. He also drank too much and eventually went into rehab. When he re-emerged he seemed increasingly isolated even from the bandmates with whom he had grown up. In one of his final interviews, he spoke of being fundamentally unlovable and doomed to be alone. "I've never had any long relationship," he said. "The longest, when I was young, was about 4 days. Since the band started, I've only really been involved with one girl. I can speak to her more naturally than to anyone else. It means something. But I've never told her I love her. I've known her for years, but I've only kissed her once, twice." In the end, Edwards was an enigma even to those with whom he was closest. Yet even as his writing turned from desolate to pitch black with the Holy Bible, the assumption in the camp was that he was taking on a persona rather than exercising something deep within. So he was a young man in a dark place. Later, after he vanished, his bandmates would theorize that Edwards was too fragile for the world. He'd had a happy childhood in Blackwood, where he was cosseted by his beloved grandmother. Maybe he found the grown-up world, so uncaring and relentless, too much. It all came to a head on the 1st of February 1995. He and Bradfield were due to fly to America for a promotional tour that day. In the fortnight leading up to the disappearance, the guitarist had withdrawn £2,800 from his bank account. Rising early at the Embassy Hotel on Bayswater Road, he took his wallet, keys, passport and some Prozac. He checked out at 7 a.m. 2 weeks later, Edwards' Vauxhall Cavalier was found abandoned at the Severn View service station. A toll booth receipt was recovered confirming he had crossed the bridge the day he vanished. He was initially thought to have driven through the booth at 2:55 p.m. on the 1st of February. But this timeline has become disputed after it emerged that the tolling system uses a 24-hour clock, which would mean he had crossed at 2:55 a.m. Speculation that Edwards might have faked his death began immediately. Later there were reported sightings, in Goa, the Canary Islands and at Newport Public Library. This was excruciating for his parents and younger sister Rachel, his only sibling. Without a body, they could never say goodbye to Richey properly. There is every possibility he could have been in Goa, there is every possibility that like his uncle he intended to return after 10 years, but who knows what could have happened in the first 10 years of Richey being a missing person. He was spotted in Goa and on the Hippie Trail, there's every chance he could have been in Thailand in 2004 and sadly perished in the Boxing Day tsunami. Maybe he intended to come back but his passing was not of his own choosing. Every hypothesis must be considered when dealing with such a rare and unique missing persons case.